far as K-pop Demon Hunters goes, I have found that people cannot think. And so that just applies to everything. They pick their teams. They become wildly partisan. Of course, it's not perfect. So even when we watch something we really like, there's plenty of conversation about where are the weak spots, what are the strengths, plus, minus, like what do they do well, what do they do badly.
Met a ghost of a king on the road when I first fell. Fire burning to my knees I fell. Met a ghost of a king on the road.
Now on to SASF episode something.
Yeah, stories are soul food. You've I got this great question sent straight to your store that I thought we'd start off today's with, which is, how come N.D. Wilson put romance in the Outlaws of Time? That was the question.
How much romance did I put in?
Not much. Too much, apparently, for Viper Wingfeather.
Viper Wingfeather?
Yeah.
How come he has a dumb name?
This is filed under I need help with. How come N.D. Wilson put romance in the Outlaws of Time?
I don't know how much romance I put in there. I put it in there because it was perfect, obviously.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, there's romance in Wingfeather, if we're going off Wingfeather, I guess.
Vipers have romance. Even vipers have romantic relationships.
Okay, so the stories or soul food answer is that because God did.
Because find me any story that doesn't have some crackle of romance somewhere.
Yeah, as long as we're in the eukaryotic versus prokaryotic.
There's romance in the Cupboards trilogy. There's romance in Ashdown. There's not really. Yeah, I guess there's romance. There's romance in Lee Pike.
True.
There's romance. There's weird romance in Boys of Blur. But I really, really, really like the family setup of Boys of Blur. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, indisputably awesome over there, Boys Blur. Okay.
Good.
What are we talking about today, Brian?
We're launching off on, we have a couple different directions to go. The first one I think would be that you created a bit of a rumpus, but we don't have to go into Twitter rumpuses.
A rumpy?
Yeah. There's that. There's also...
What rumpus did I create?
Over K-pop being recommended.
Oh, yes. Actually, yeah, we should absolutely cover that.
That was pretty funny. I was off camping and all of a sudden was like, what's happening?
People are mad about it.
Yeah.
And people don't understand almost anything when it comes to story.
I think that's probably the theme of our podcast today is people
plenty of people do, and they watch it and they're like, oh, wow, that actually was quite surprising. Kind of like your sons who've now watched it, right, Brian?
They have not yet watched
Come on.
Now, after watching people completely
lose their minds about it, and you realize that you too are Mr. Sensitive over here.
Now I'm gonna have to be like, guys.
I'll say this too. It's important first off to, if you go over to my daughter's podcast, Help We're Being Repressed, you'll realize that in our family, our children are extremely active readers and active viewers.
Sure.
Nothing is received as scripture except for scripture. So there's nothing that we like or praise or are fans of, whether it's a movie like Gladiator or Children of Men or some of the best that I've seen. Those are two of the tops.
Right.
It's not like it's perfect.
No,
of course it's not perfect. So even when we watch something we really like, there's plenty of conversation about where are the weak spots, what are the strengths, plus, minus, like what do they do well, what do they do badly, what is thoughtless, what's intelligent. We do that with everything. So in the case of K-pop Demon Hunters, like I said on our podcast, it is a thunderingly bad title with a thunderingly bad pitch behind it. And so, I was talking about how Sony really pooched this, and they obviously sold to Netflix. I said if Netflix was half smart, they'd drop it into theaters in August. Guess what? They're dropping it into theaters this month.
They are half smart.
They're not doing it exactly the way that they were told to on SASF, but they are, in fact, making some of those moves. Do not ever underestimate our power.
I know. I would like the credit to be there.
Yeah, but are there flaws in K-pop Demon Hunters? Obviously. Obviously there are flaws. part of it is like playing a basketball game. You go engage and you're going to compete with this stuff. You receive the content and you're not just sitting there like a baby bird ingesting it. You have to resist it. You have to criticize it. You have to affirm it, praise it, blame it. And you have this whole epideictic relationship.
Ooh, nice word there.
Yeah, with a film. So you have, and other people would say it differently. That's how I say it. And always have. But what are you praising? What are you blaming?
Yeah, I mean, I think a huge part of the way you pitched that film was princess movies go a particular way that has gotten extremely tired.
And it really started to go there.
Yep.
And so like, oh no, she's part demon.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the acceptance. Here comes the inclusion. And it's like, oh, actually, we have to exterminate all the demons.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, the demons are bad. Like, right. But that's remarkable in kids' movies, to have villains, to have evil, and to have to kill it.
Right.
Like, that's
not just trap it, not convert it, lest I'll make a little,
kill
not
it.
Convert it from one creature into another.
Kill it.
Kill it.
Yeah. And then, of course, people are like, but it's gay. You know, people talk about how this is the structure of coming out. Like, sure. Yeah. Okay. The architecture.
Oh, we've talked about this too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like if you have
sheep.
Yeah. If you have architecture, there's walls and then there's a house. If you have classic architecture, you're going to go to wings, you're going to have this shape. Could you tell the same shape story about a gay kid coming out? Yes, you could. You could follow the same pattern, the same shape of the story.
And that would be bad.
And that would be bad. In this case, if people want to say this is a morality tale in favor of those, affirming, this is an affirming morality tale. This is one that is supporting, the gay kid acceptance, coming out story. They cannot say that and watch the movie. So
sure.
If that's the case, here's this girl with shame. Yep. She's got guilt. She's shameful. She's part demon. Like she's got this demon problem. And what she has to do is tell the truth and kill all the demons, and her healing begins. And it's actually reversing. So it's not like, oh, now she's accepted and demons are now they all live happily ever after, people who are part demon and people who are fully human. It's like, no, actually it has to be completely exterminated. And all her markings, which are a sign of that, are fading. They're all going away, in the end. And so if you want to say this is a coming out story, it's like, sure, if by coming out you mean like openly repenting and reversing
and putting to death
the sin, putting to death the origin of the temptation. And it's like, sure, you want to start coloring that story? I'm still in favor of this thing.
Right.
Like this is still good. Now, are they immodest? Yeah. Yep. Should your daughters dress like this? No.
Right.
Like this, you should have some immune system and you should have these. Right. Like, I'm not bothered by that, but I did this. I think my daughter was just talking about this, watching like Sinbad or whatever. We'd watch a cartoon, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and we'd be kicking against it. Beauty and the Beast is a terrible story for girls. It's really bad. So
you're putting all your spicy takes in here.
But it's like, okay, now do I have a problem with it? No.
Sure.
Like, because we watch it and then we'd talk about it and we'd resist it. And we talk about how girls make this mistake. Look around you. Do you see girls in the world who fall for the bad guy and they assume that their love will transform him? That this good girl liking the beast is going to transform this guy. Yeah, girls buy into that. And there's a whole legacy of Hollywood movies and books all about that, including things like, but the worst version, Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, are all downstream of that story.
Right.
So the girl falling for the beast, like the beast, and falling in love with him as a beast. And now what we did is the first stories, her bizarre, Marian feminine holiness transforms the beast into a prince. But a generation later, we've just skipped that part. And she just loves the beast and she goes with the beast and he's always a beast, which is more realistic, honestly. So anyway, the point is, did my daughters watch Beauty and the Beast? Yeah. But we're active viewers. And did we talk about it? Did we push against it? Did we talk about that particular lie, that particular tendency? But at the same time, it's not a computer code. Has the love of a good woman ever been the means of grace by which a beast was transformed? Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the pattern? No.
Right.
Is that a slippery devil for girls? Is that a dangerous catechism for little girls? Yes.
I mean, I think it's also an adaptation of Kissing the Frog, right? I mean, this is just one of those old sort of like fairy tale.
Sort of, but not.
Yeah, it's obviously a little dark.
The frog is sitting there and like at your mercy, and you can save him or not. You're going to kiss the frog.
Yeah.
The Beauty and the Beast story, you're going to go be his captive and fall in love with him as a beast.
Sure. Okay.
You know, it's like this is.
So there's a much if you buy into that emotional heart, that's where you're saying this one's a bad one.
I'm just saying that's dangerous. Now, it did not prevent me from watching it with my girls.
Right.
It's one of the benefits of watching it with my girls.
Yeah.
It's like, so I sat there and my girls watched this movie and we talked about this movie and we talked about how girls make this mistake and you see what Belle's doing. And sometimes this happens. Right. God tells lots of stories. He tells lots of wild stories. I have a friend who, this is a wildly simplistic version of his conversion, but there was a Christian who lived next door and he had married a Christian girl. She did that thing. She married a beast. And, and he didn't convert and it didn't transform him, you know, and they lived next door to a Christian dude who was the worst, you know, yelling at his wife, angry all the time, furious.
So the non-Christian husband and wife lived next door to
the Christian guy who's awful.
Christian. Okay, gotcha.
And the Christian wife was, you know, this was sad. This is she hated this horrible testimony, but it was what God used to convert him. Where he told me, it's like, yeah, man, if God can save that guy, and that guy's like the worst I've ever seen, then surely he can save me. And I think that's really funny. That's not how it normally works. But the point is, God can tell stories in really atypical, unexpected ways too.
Right.
So, you know, it's like, I'm not going to try to limit the Holy Spirit and say that a Beauty and the Beast story that ends in conversion and happily ever after has never happened. Of course it has.
Right.
But the benefit of that movie to me is that my girls watch that thing and it's when they're little, it's like, that's crack. There's songs, there's dancing, there's funny characters, and it's a love story, and she turns into a princess, and he turns into a king. And their joke was always that he was more masculine before they changed him.
Okay.
You know, it's like he, you know, which is true.
Yeah.
And that's where 50 Shades and Twilight actually ends up without the transformation. But
yikes.
Anyway, I was not hesitant to watch Beauty and the Beast with my little girls, and it gave us what we needed. You know, it gave us this thing to talk about and wrestle with, and, you know, their little minds could engage and we could wrestle with it to the point where now that they're adults, they're wildly perceptive, very, very active, and capable of engaging with lots of things. I would have had less to resist in K-pop Demon Hunters than in Beauty and the Beast. In terms of like what the crack is, like what the seduction is, what the evil is. In K-pop Demon Hunters, it's like, it's outfits and then this whole like pop idol thing.
The pop idol media
the pop idol thing. So, you know, as my daughter pointed out to me, there's a whole lot of condemnation of all the mindless fans of the devil boy band, but there's not condemnation of the mindless fans of the girl band. Now, I think there's an affectionate criticism. They actually do satirize it, you know, there, and they show that the vulnerability of these fans to something that was wholesome. These songs are wholesome, but they're being like brainless sycophants and just crazy fans of the somewhat wholesome stuff makes them totally vulnerable to become brainless fans of the overt devil worship.
Sure. Okay.
So I do think that's in the story, but I have to talk to my little girls. If my little girls watch this movie, I'm talking to them about modesty.
Yeah.
But I'm also talking to them about truth telling, confession, guilt, you know, all this stuff. Over at Beauty and the Beast, there's this whole lie about how righteousness and holiness works. And how the little vulnerable, innocent, pure girl should fall in love with the beast. And that is like a slippery thing that has ruined many, many lives. So
New Testament advises the opposite.
yes. So anyway, as far as K-pop Demon Hunters goes, I have found that people cannot think. And so that just applies to everything. They pick their teams, they become wildly partisan. So people are like, Netflix is of the devil. They never did anything right. It's like,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're the Gideon, Bible distributors, but
Well, I think it's funny.
but I've
too.
obviously worked with them.
I think people watch.
They bought it from
essentially.
Sony. Netflix didn't make this.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
what, even the one that made everybody mad, that horrible French movie that they bought at a
Cuties.
festival. Yeah. They didn't make that.
It was weird to me to see people bringing up Cuties in this discussion. Like, how could Nate recommend K-pop on Netflix when Netflix made Cuties?
Yeah.
They're just
They didn't make either of these things.
they licensed them, and you can vote with your pocketbook. By
And
not
Cuties is terrible.
subscribing. Yeah,
And I don't blame people for not having Netflix. I mean, that's
go for it.
fine with me. Like I have a lot of Amish impulses myself. So like I sympathize.
We're in favor.
If people want to cancel Netflix, like knock yourselves out. And yeah, you don't have this conversation. That's fine. It's not like you need this in your life.
Yeah.
It's just this is a good opportunity. I've made multiple people sit down. I heard from a Christian producer friend who like sat down with his daughter and had a fantastic like long form conversation with her, deconstructing this thing, pulling it apart, finding what worked, what didn't work, and what made it really thrive.
Yeah.
It's like that's the kind of thing I want.
I'm also watching people overreact to the anime aspect. I don't know if it's just they're not familiar, but they're like, hey, this looks like something pornographic to me.
This looks like what?
And then that's been
It's
interesting as well.
Japanese animation.
Yep.
There is such a thing as Japanese animation, and there is such a thing as bad Japanese animation, and there's such a thing as good Japanese animation.
And if you pursue that one, we just said this over and over, you pursue that one flavor to the end, you will go to a bad place. So yes, people that pursue anime all the way to the ground forever and ever.
But it's so
weird.
weird to say I pursue anime. I pursue all Japanese animation.
Yeah.
It's like, why would anybody do that? I pursue all American animation. Like,
Yeah, I think it's a
okay.
weird subculture where
it's as weird as it is,
Yeah.
but it's as weird as saying I pursue all American photography.
right.
It's
That's
like,
an
well,
insane statement.
you're gonna see a bunch of porn.
Yep.
It's like if it's just blanket American photography, there's a bunch of bad stuff. Japanese anime has had a history of functioning in the seedy corners where they could tell cheap, fast stories that would go into dark places for little niche subcultures. And it did that.
Yeah.
And historically it did that. The first movies ever made in the US were porn.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like,
right.
okay, should I never have a moving picture because the first moving pictures were pornographic? That's ridiculous.
Right.
It's like, and obviously porn is terrible. And whenever people come up with a new tool, all of the broken people will use it to amplify their brokenness.
Yeah, we're watching that with the LLMs right now.
Yep.
Yeah. And ChatGPT immediately
100%.
becoming awful.
And so everybody can play with AI. They're like, man, how much porn can I make?
Yeah.
It's just so deviant. It's like people are deviant and broken. And so they go deviant and broken places. However, Miyazaki is phenomenal. Miyazaki is one of the best to ever do it. And to do movies, to do animation. Like he's in a top tier.
Right.
And that's Japanese animation. If you're going to just react against the palette of Japanese animation, because there's other Japanese animation that's really gross, and there is other Japanese animation that's really gross. It's like, well, I think you're going about your life in a bizarre way.
Well, I think it proves the point of this podcast, which you stated as people can't think.
No, they can't. And this is why when I was so in the height of Hello Ninja, and we're making 40 episodes, we're dropping seasons, and they're hits. So we're dropping hit seasons, and the amount of onslaught of like Netflix, like why would you work with Netflix? Like what? Like I am making my cartoon. Like that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
I'm taking their money and I'm spending it to do this thing. Now, the people who are sending this to me are doing it on iPhones. Like they're not sending me smoke signals. You know, I didn't get any homing pigeons with insults. I'm getting popped on Facebook.
Right.
Like people, you really like, you're going to have a big problem about me working with Netflix and you're going to express that on Facebook. Like Facebook is super righteous. You're going to do it on your Apple device. Like, okay, are you using Amazon servers? Probably. Like, do you use Amazon for free shipping on your dish soap? Of course.
Gmail.
Gmail. We're in Babylon. Like we are in Babylon and we should be fighting to spread the light everywhere we can. Ready to go in the lion's den any day if we need to. You know, it's like, that's absolutely, we got to be ready to resist and ready to go to the lion's den. At the same time, unless you're going full Amish, in which case you're not one of the people messaging me on Facebook or off of an Apple device, you're not listening to a podcast. You're just being productive in your cornfield and you're probably struggling with body odor, but you have lower obesity and less cancer than everybody else. So congrats.
Also not social media addiction.
Congrats, you're not listening.
Right.
You know, you're not one of the people having a beef. It is shocking to me to watch people beef on Twitter,
Yeah.
beefing on X, beefing on Facebook, Meta. Like
Right.
the inconsistency is remarkable. And they're like, yeah, but that's me and I need this. It's pretty funny. So KPop Demon Hunters is a really refreshing, unexpected story that starts to go into types that are the lies and disease of our age, and then rebels against those types and kicks them in the head and defeats them. One person went out, probably more than one, but one that I saw went after me talking about how the song, you know, I'm Your Idol. Like, I'm Your Idol, that's overtly satanic. Correct. It's overtly satanic.
Yeah.
It's meant to be overtly satanic. It is the hell destination that starts with them singing You're My Soda Pop and lures everybody into the gates of hell. And it's why the demons have to be destroyed. So for the
It's
demon,
the bad one singing that song, right?
yeah, and they're singing
it's a bad guy
They're
song.
singing at the culmination of your dark night of the soul. You know, you basically the aftermath. The bad guys have closed in, and they have taken everything. And all the little mindless fans who were mindlessly fanning about bubblegum that the girls helped them, you know, mindlessly fan about, have now been led into mindlessly fanning pure Satanists. Like just Satanist songs. And that's why they all have to die. And so I don't know why on earth you'd be upset. It's like somebody being mad at me saying, how could you ever recommend The Lord of the Rings? Don't you know that Sauron is bad?
Yeah, that's bizarre.
It's like, yes, I do know that Sauron is bad. And so is that song because the bad guys sang it. And it represents like all the evil in the story and they get killed. The girls are crushing on the pretty boy band. Like these little thirst trap demons who have their little boy band song. And the girls have to literally chop them up. Like they've got to kill them. And you know, I don't know how you have a problem with this. It's like there's a dragon, the dragon's evil. It's like, yes, but the good guy's killing the dragon.
That's kind
because
of the point.
he's evil.
That's kind of the point of the story.
Yeah. So anyway, people can't think. People are dumb.
How do you think? How did you go about looking at your kids and being like, "All right, time for some the sort of K-pop diet"? Or no, sorry, I guess this would be maybe the Bell diet. Where it's like, hey, I need to show them this.
Oh, they saw it. They saw Beauty and the Beast from very young age, and we talked about it when they were 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's like you're always talking to them at their level. Just so my kids were taking communion when they were 2 and 3. And they're being talked to at that level. Like, see, this is the body of Christ, and Jesus died for you.
Right.
This right here is a picture of him dying for you, and he feeds you. Remember that he died for you. We're supposed to remember that he died for us. This is why we're doing this.
Right.
And so it's a point of conversation every single week. You know, we do weekly communion. And so Their little brains at 3 years old, they're doing it at 3-year-old levels. By the time they were 12, I would expect them to already be able to have that conversation with friends about Belle and, and the Beast. Right. So anyway, it's
it's a very different way of looking at the temptation too. It's much less of a, it almost shows the attractive side of the temptation.
Yeah.
As opposed to the stories that are much more overt and feel like there's a much more right-wrong Pilgrim's Progress way where like, don't go over to that part. Yep. This one feels more like you get to see how it feels or works out and
realize that you're going to go wrestle with things. Like you're going to sit down and wrestle with things with your kids. And the whole point is they're getting better at it. They're not going to be perfect at it. But if you continue to train them and align them such that they are thinking and active whenever they are consuming media, if you can get them where they are always thinking and active, that is a much more important posture and a healthier outcome than them getting every test perfect. So if they're going to get 87s on, they watch a movie and they engage with it.
Say they watch K-pop.
Yeah, and they get an 87%, and how they analyze it, what they appreciate, what they don't like, what's impressive, what's not impressive.
Right.
And they get it 13% wrong. That doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
Because the win is them in this stance of resistance and activity, like active consumption. So they are actively engaged. It's
a skill development you're trying to teach them.
Muscles.
Right.
And so the question is, do they get weaker? Do they get stronger? Or are they like, where are they moving? They're getting more and more sophisticated in what they're able to identify, appreciate, resist. And the goal being that you are raising kids who are not going to just be bowled over and deceived, and they're just not easy to deceive. They can actually grapple with and wrestle with anything. They're Bereans functionally.
Sure, because that's what a movie is it's like a big piece of content trying to move you in a particular direction. Yeah. And that sort of it makes a demand upon you. So the ability to take that demand and do something with it.
And in the Reformed theological world, I would say in some of the more academic leaning corners of the world, it's funny to me that they will have more resistance up and conversation about a sermon than they will about the movie they watched. And so they listened to something in the sermon, like, well, we'll talk about that. I don't know about that. They kind of resist, but then they just go watch a movie and they just like eat it like a boa constrictor eating a guinea pig. It's just knock it back whole and not really worry about it. The goal is for them to be Bereans in every area of their lives. If people are trying to move them, they're trying to make them feel, they're trying to steer them. You want them to be active as, basically immune system. They are strong in their immunities, and they're strong in their immunities for their friends, for their community, for people around them, for themselves first. And so they're strong and they have this posture of resistance. And very quickly, you'll find out that certain friendships won't work because there's a whole lot of friends who are super annoyed about having a conversation or being in any way critical of a thing. So it's sort of like...
I've heard that. Yeah. Okay. So they're more of the line of, why can't we just watch this?
Can you shut up? Can we just watch this?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'll watch it with you, but we're going to talk about it afterward. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it was great.
Sure, I'm not gonna be annoying during the movie.
Yeah. But if it's unwelcome, then we're not friends. Like we're acquaintances and we're around each other. But if we're not really breaking bread together, if we're not sitting down and actually having a meal, then it's not a real friendship. And so I know that is the case often. And so the biggest problem for my kids growing up in my house is probably that. It's like they would be like Gandalf Stormcrow coming to the birthday party. They're going to somebody else's birthday party and they're going to watch Frozen. And so we talk about manners and like you don't want to like shred somebody else's birthday movie. But at the same time, I'll talk to you about it when you get home because we're going to shred somebody else's birthday movie. There's
how did they walk that line? That feels like a very tough
let's just say they did not do it successfully all the time. But that's fine. I don't care.
Right.
It's not about being perfect. It's about like always resisting and pushing the right direction. So did they navigate it perfectly? No. Did they navigate it well often? Yes. You know, and by the time my son, who just graduated this last year, by the time he was a senior, you know, people could have all sorts of conversations about movies. He's just not going to even join in. They all know, you know, it's like, they know that if they loop him in on it, it's just going to be way less fun. You know, that dynamic is just the case. You end up being Gandalf Stormcrow for other people. In this case, I'm in the unique position of getting to say, hey, this is better than you think, to a bunch of reactionaries.
Yeah.
Which
not
that's
normally.
unusual for me.
Yeah,
like
not normally. Yep.
That's like, okay, that's great.
So all you people who say Nate doesn't like anything.
I like this one. And the Matrix is another great example where it's like, okay, movie one, you watch it and you're like, oh, like, yeah, this is totally Christological. Sure. And how it's structured. Worldview wise, it could also be Buddhism. You know, we could go into weirder and weirder places with it. And then afterwards, you're like, oh, the directors are trans. That makes sense.
So that puts a different spin on it.
Yeah, it doesn't change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really doesn't change it as far as the structure and meaning of this particular film. They unpack it more and more overtly in the trilogy as they take Zion and have Zion be in hell. And Zion is like this rave down in the glowing red lava of the core of the earth.
Right.
You know, it's like they take it and then they try to go abuse it. So I understand like, oh, why they were into this as trans guys.
Yeah.
They were into this whole idea of, you know, change of layers of being and all that kind of stuff. However, they told a messianic story.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's messianic architecture, and that's what it is. And so whether they want it to be or not, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm reminded of a James Baldwin novel I read before I knew who James Baldwin was. And I was like, this is weirdly Christian, you know, because he's talking about revival and an actual awakening. And then realized later that in his mindsight, it's not Christian. It's the black gay part of him that was being awakened. And it was a similar sort of experience where you're like, oh man, you can have the correct emotion.
Yep.
And you've just misplaced it. There's nothing about the architecture there that was broken.
So let's say you're telling the story of the flood. You could have the 8 people in the boat be gay and everyone in the world evangelical, and you know, the waters of progress come pouring out of the heavens and up from the deep, and and yet you're telling the exact same structure. The same structural story is going on. You're just trying to infuse it. Now, remove that. Don't specify. Like you're using the judgment of evil and everything else, and this family's escaping, but you haven't gone in and gotten really particular about what you mean by evil and what you mean by good. But the reader is trusting the author, and the author's infused the book with good, evil's surrounding, good is in the boat, destruction comes from God, and they are saved. And then, and you're like, oh, cool. It's a Noah story. And he followed this structure, and I really liked it. And then you see an interview with the author, and he's like, so what I was trying to do is condemn the evangelicals. Yeah. And you're like,
right.
Not really. I mean, you're trying to make money and tell a story that people would want to read.
Right.
You know, and then now you're doing this.
Now you're doing
on top to it. It's kind of like J.K. Rowling saying that Dumbledore's gay. Mm-hmm. You know, where it's like, he's not gay. He's incompetent. But he's not gay.
We can say bad things about him, just not that one.
Yeah, that's just not true. It's not in the books. Like it's not, you know, it's just not there. I think actually it's kind of funny that she did that, and now it
didn't save her.
No, she drew a line later, and it didn't save her. Anyway, the point is here, you look at art, you look at the art, and the meaning in the art. Like what it is saying, what it is doing. And you look at those 3 levels, and I don't know which podcast it was where we talked about levels of criticism.
Yeah, right.
But we did. Back there somewhere, there's the SASF we could link to about, you know, sort of like pursuing technical value, you know, and response value, and then that objective value. But all those things, those are all located in the art. Those do not get imposed onto the art after the fact.
Right.
They're in it. So in the case of K-pop Demon Hunters, I don't care if a bunch of gay rights people try to come in and say, this is a coming out story. It's not.
Oh, yeah.
They can try to project whatever they want back onto it. It's about shame, it's about guilt, and it's about needing to defeat evil and the necessity of of truth telling in facing evil.
And there are not very many movies that do that.
No. So yeah, okay, it's bubblegum and it's too short in weird places. It needs one more song. Like, okay, there's things you could say technically about it, and there's things that you could praise technically, things that you could criticize technically. There's things you can praise in its ethical consideration, in its moral perception, things that you can criticize in its moral perception. Like there's good and bad in every category. So turn your brains on and like start doing push-ups, like sit down with your kids, watch something and actually be able to criticize and also be able to sit there with your kids and say, yeah, I enjoyed that, but I really enjoyed watching that with you. That's the fun thing. We broke bread together. We watched this together. What did you think? And what did you think of this specifically when this character did this thing? What do you think the movie is trying to say or trying to get you to feel? What do you think the movie's trying to get you to feel here? Is that true? Is it false? Is that biblical? Should you feel that way? What is the movie saying about this? Is it true or false? And that's just a really fruitful relationship to have with your kids, and also a very fruitful relationship to have with media. So as adults and as children, that's the relationship you want to have with what you're watching. So, I mean, I've upset people before. I think somebody left our church once ages ago when I liked Seabiscuit. So I've been pretty comfortable upsetting people. And
Seabiscuit.
And I find that people can get annoyed when you just don't like stuff. Like, why are you? And we've talked about this. When people over-identify, they identify themselves with a movie they liked. So if you criticize the film, like Lord of the Rings, you are deriding them personally, and they take it very, very personally. I find that people are much more self-righteous and funny when you openly like something that they then, condemn. Like,
that's interesting.
Like the church lady in Saturday Night Live. So, but yeah, you should not identify with a film, and you should be honest about, you should not wrap up your own identity in a movie that you like. And you should be honest when you have nostalgic connections to it. So when people love the Lord of the Rings movies because of its place in their childhoods, we talked about that when I talked about the animated Hobbit.
Yep.
Like, yeah, this is my grandma's cookie. I really, really like it.
Yep.
And I understand that you don't. So, it's like it when something comes to you in a particular place and you know that you have a sentimental attachment to it, not necessarily a clear scene, rational attachment to it, being honest about that is important. So I would encourage everybody who likes K-pop Demon Hunters to not wrap their identities up in something like that.
Please
and
don't.
other people not liking it is fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. But everybody who's wound up and self-righteous about it just needs to get over themselves and watch some anime. Jujutsu Kaisen, jump in there. Kaiju, man, I can't remember what it's called. Kaiju number 8, Kaiju number 9. But I jokingly, with my kids, I always called it Mambo number 5 or Chanel number 5. So I always misnamed it on purpose.
And now you can't remember.
Yeah, like, do you have a palate for anime?
Right.
That's not porn. It's not the devil. Do you just react to Japanese animation?
Because for sure,
outright. In which case, get over yourself and watch some Miyazaki. But anyway, what else were we going to talk about, or is that it? Is this just a K-pop response?
It was a K-pop response. I mean, I think you gave the whole thesis for the whole reason of having this podcast behind it. Like, stories are soul food.
I think Little Mermaid.
Sure.
Same stinking lie as Beauty and the Beast. Different. I mean, meaning like stupid girl affirmation.
Yep.
Like folly, just absolute, go do a deal with a witch and it will work out.
Yep.
It's like, it's turn your back on your dad and so on. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. I mean, I think
rough.
Jasmine's another one where they made her dad such an idiot that there's only one way she could be.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that over time is a bad thing. But even that's like, don't swallow the movie whole hog. And
it is funny and inconsistent. So are the outfits in K-pop Demon Hunters the outfits your little girls should wear? No. How about Little Mermaid and Aladdin?
Yeah.
You gonna throw your little girls in those? hopefully not.
Yep.
Like it's,
Yep.
and hopefully you'll be aware that what they're learning and what's imprinting on them when they're watching it, and you'll have, you'll activate their brains in that regard. But
Belle has a cool dress, I guess. We can give Belle the dress award, right?
I don't remember, probably.
Just remember yellow.
I'm just gonna trust you. But we do have like there's the little like lascivious French thing going on with like the duster and it's like we've got that kind of thing going on too. There's things to
there's
to
been
flag.
gross animators forever.
Oh, animators have always been pervs.
I think Doug TenNapel has a whole thing on that.
We had to like edit him out. Like Doug TenNapel talking about how bad they were.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gracious.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's I challenge you, Brian, to watch this movie with your boys, and then we can do follow-up number 2 when you come back. You're like, this is terrible.
You've already touched on why I haven't yet. It's just that, do I want to have to talk about
the reason why I was like, let's just say it's time.
Yeah,
it's time. It's probably a time consideration. Right. Do I really want to talk about these things with my boys?
It's like, all right, I now have to have the pop idol conversation, and maybe it's time.
Apparently it is.
Maybe it is.
Apparently it is. You have a podcast?
Because I have a podcast, and my
this movie
co-host
came out?
will not allow me to skip it.
You can't know if I'm wrong or if the angry crowd, or if I'm wrong or they're wrong until you've watched it with your boys. Saddle up, Brian. Saddle up. Lay down all your resistance.
There we go.
And dive in.
And that's been another pleasant Stories of Soul Food.
Yeah, yes. And I'll see
with
you,
the call
I'll see
to action.
you humming You're My Soda Pop around the
You're
office.
My Soda Pop.
It'll be great. Lay your life down. Your heartbeats cannot be hoarded. Your reservoir of breaths is draining away. You have hands, blister them while you can. You have bones, make them strain. They can carry nothing in the grave. You have lungs, let them spill with laughter. With an average life expectancy of 78.2 years in the U.S., subtracting 8 hours a day for sleep, I have around 250,000 conscious hours remaining to me in which I could be smiling or scowling, rejoicing in my life, in this race, in this story, or moaning and complaining about my troubles. I can be giving my fingers, my back, my mind, my words, my breaths to my wife and my children and my neighbors. Or I can grasp after the vapor and the vanity for myself, dragging my feet, afraid to die, and therefore afraid to live. And like Adam, I will still die in the end.